welcome back everybody to Tony's Top Tips Workshop. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you're having a good start to the year. As I say, this is a video that's come about by a friend of my brother's. Oh, by the way, just breaking you off there, what do you think to my new t-shirt? Yeah, it was a Christmas present from the wife. Pretty good, eh? So I thought I'd better wear it. Yeah, just going back, it's come about as this video by my brother has a friend where he works, a colleague, and he's heavily into Scalextrics. And last year, sometime beginning of last year, he asked me if I could 3D print a pit stand. I knew what the pits are from F1 racing and that, but I didn't know what they were like on Scalextric. So he gave me a sample of one, and the sample of one was all black, and it was genuine Scalextrics. It was when you looked at it, simple, but yet to 3D print it, complicated. So I said, well look, I'll have a go. He said, I can't get these, and when you can get them, they're expensive. I said, I'll do it as a project. I did it as a favour for my brother, really. And the chap concerned, he's a really nice, I've met him, he's a really nice lad. And so he gave me the sample. Now I can't show you the sample, but what I am going to do is I'm going to show you the actual items that I've printed and what I did. I'll take you up to the PC and show you what I do on Fusion 360, because I could design it, and I'll show you on Fusion 360. You can design the item by making the individual components and then merging them in on 360 and then printing it all off as one. But the problem with that is, because the nature of how it's constructed, I wanted to duplicate the original, and of course what you would end up with is a lot of supports under areas where it would need support, and if it failed, and I would think it'd be quite a lengthy print. The actual layer thickness that I was going to choose, because you needed it smooth, and I'm going to print it on the Zortrax M200, and it's one of those situations where if you print it in sections like I'll show you, then you only, if that section goes wrong, you've only that section wasted, but the previous sections might actually work. Now I split the whole unit up into 4 sections, and I'll show you that, and then I'll show you the individual sections, barring the last one, which were only like the buffets, because this actual Scalextric has 4 buffets on the base that you sit the crew chief and what have you on, and it's got like monitors in the back. Well, I couldn't provide the stickers, but apparently you can still get the stickers to cover the monitors, which is it neither here nor there for me. I just wanted to consider what I could do for the actual plastic part, the pit stand, and I'll show you on Fusion 360. Right, here we are everybody, we're at the PC now, Fusion 360, and what we've got here is, as I was explaining earlier, I've done this before for him, but I don't have one that's finished because I printed it and obviously he received the item. And this is, as I was saying, this is a pit stand for the Scalextrics. Now, as you can see here on the screen, it's that there on the right, that is made up of 3 pieces. That's 3 components. That's that one, and the main body. Okay, now at the back you can see, I'll just flick that over, you can just see the stool and the stool top. So that's the stand with the footrest, and that's the top. Okay, now I'll spin it around for you so you can see those actual there go into here. Okay, they're just 4 stools, and apparently they have them on the original one that I copied it from. I printed the original one that I did for him in black ABS, and which was fine. That's the colour that was given, but it don't give you any, when you, if you want to change the colours, it don't give you much scope to actually, you know, paint bright colours on black, because the black, if you paint red on it, it'll, well, white fair enough will show, but if you're putting something like red on, you know, on the main components or whatever, it's very difficult to get a red that'll come through as exactly the same, because the black tends to show through. You have to do more coats on it. I don't know if that from some of the models that I've painted, but anyway, this is how I've chose to do it. It's not everybody's cup of tea. As you can see there, I've just imported from the component list there, and just imported them. You just go right click, insert into current design, and it puts it in, allows you to move it to where you want, and then once you click OK, it locks it in position. Now that's gone into there, and that goes on there, so it's just turn around, that part is up there. Okay, and then your little components. Now you could print that as it is, but then like under there you'd probably have all supports, depending how you're printing it. If you're going to print it on the bit, you know, on the printer surface on the bed, you'd actually print it like that. You'd probably have supports underneath all this, and depending on your printer's capabilities for the slope there, you'd probably have some supports underneath there. So you could, but I choose not to do it. I split mine into components. So this component here, which is the floor, which slides in there, I print on that side. That side will be face down, and that unit, the monitor unit, will be printed as it is now. And I know my printer's capabilities, it will print that angle there without any supports underneath. And then obviously the little benches, stools, I print them, and all I've done on because I'm printing this on the Zortrax M200, it'll be printed 4 of those and 4 of those. Sometimes I print a few more in case they break any, but that's how I choose to do it. I just think sometimes it's better if you can split them up than trying to, because if you get nearly finished on this now, the actual quality that I'm printing this at, that base unit, which is that there, Pit Stand 3, is just over a 6 hour print. I think that one's around about 2.5 hours, and that one's about probably about an hour and a quarter, hour and a half for that one. Now they're all printed, I print them all on a raft on the Zortrax. But if I had to start printing all these together as one unit, you get to a point here and something goes wrong with your print, this would have been on, if I'd have printed it together, probably around about 6, maybe 9 hour print to print all that, the quality that I was doing it at. So if it goes wrong the last bit, you've all that wasted. Whereas if you print that and you've just got that, and then your components click in, and I believe that's how they came from Scalextric. I don't know, it's just I'm not into Scalextrics, but I understand that a lot of people are, and he's just asked me if I'd do him another one. Now, I never did a video on this one, but it's just interesting that, you know, he doesn't have a 3D. He thought about getting one himself, but he's not into the design and all that. And sometimes it's easier if you've got something to work from. Now, this is virtually an exact copy of the one that he gave me, which is a Scalextric original. So I'm not copywriting it out. It's not selling them or anything like that. It's just he's asked me as a favour to print him another one off, and I have done so. So the main base unit now is on the printer. You can probably hear it in the background. Started that off. We'll take a look at it, and then that will be next to be printed, and then that, and then the buffets, and then I'll show you a completed item. So what we'll do now is I'll take you over to the printer and we'll see what's going on there. Right, here we are at the printer. As you can see, I have on my Zortrax, I have the filter unit on, the hood on top, you know, with the detachable magnetic lid, and it's great for especially if you're doing ABS. Now, as you can see, it takes quite a time to actually print the raft. Really, that's one of the biggest time-consuming items on any of the when you're printing with the Zortrax, because it does an absolute perfect raft. A lot of people don't bother printing with them, but I like it. I don't get any failed prints from this machine. It's really good, but if you can see the quality of that, it's spot on. And as I say, that's in a white matte ABS. And if you see it's 14% on the print, 15% now, as you can see on the dial there, and there's 5 hours 54 minutes left. So 15%, believe it or not, and the raft isn't finished yet. So you can understand why, especially the Zortrax with the rafts, it actually, I can knock it down a lot, you know, cut the time down, as it's just the print settings and the fineness that I'm printing it at, or the quality. But anyway, we'll come back to that shortly. Right, the first part's already printed, and now we're on with the base, and that is looking pretty good. 94%, so it's nearly done. That took just over 2 hours. And there's about 7 minutes left on it. As I say, with I use this a lot, the Zortrax, because it's the M200. It's one hell of a good printer, and I know that when I construct things like bearings or bushes or anything like that, when you gauge them, it's literally 0.02 of a millimetre out when I set it on the actual Fusion 360, when I design it to actual finished. It's that 0.02 undersize. So I know that when I create anything a whole, I just increase it. So that'll finish, and then I'll be on with the monitor stands. And once I've printed all the pieces, I'll put them all together before I take them off the rafts. I can show you more complete. Right, here we are now with the monitor part, and as you can see, it's printing like in position set on Fusion 360, and it's as you can see, it's no supports, and it's doing the, I call it the lean angle without supports, and it's doing it quite well. This to do, there's about 6 minutes left on this, and then there's the stools to do, and then the item's finished, and I'll give you a glimpse of the stool being printed and how I printed that. Right, I'm back down. I hope the how I showed you on Fusion 360 is simple enough. I'm not going to go through, I'm not nowhere near good enough to actually show people how I get to a point of designing something and how Fusion 360 works, because it is complicated, but it's good at what it does, and I know my limitations, so it's not one of those things that I can show you really. There's a lot of very capable guys on video on YouTube doing the videos on Fusion 360, and that's what I watch in order to know how to do something. But anyway, I hope that's been okay for you. And we're down here now. I've printed the 4 parts off, and what I'll do is I'll show you the 4 parts, and I've left them on the raft from the M200, and then I'll show you taking them off, and then I'll show you how it all comes together. And by the way, if you know, because this is Scalextric, it's one of those things, if like a chap last night asked me if I could provide him with, I did one of my videos, I did the actual vacuum pods for the CNC that I designed myself with the button that when you lay an item on top, it actually lets the suction in. And he asked would I be prepared to share the STL file. Well, I would have done, but unfortunate, I explained to the gentleman last year I got a ransomware virus, and I didn't get on my main PC for some reason. I got it, it popped up when I plugged my separate hard drive in, which I store all my data on. And I never stored them on my PC, I stored them to a separate drive. And unfortunately, well, you know, with ransomware, I lost a lot of data, and I couldn't get that back. And I've got the actual Zortrax file for it, which is once you've done it through the software for the printer, then that's fine. I can print as many off as I want for that, but I don't have the STL file, which you need to put into your software in order to actually work your printer software. I had to say I'm sorry, but you know, I can't. But there are a lot of free STL files out there on the internet that that are showing vacuum pods, so you know, maybe to get one of those and alter it to what you want in something like Mesh Mixer or that, and alter the actual design. I don't know, I'm not in that, but the problem with this one is that one I would have gladly have passed on, because it's just an STL file and it's mine, it belongs to me, and I would have gladly passed that on. You know, I'm not selling the damn things. But this is a Scalextric, and it's a copy of a Scalextric. So, and Scalextric is, for you know, unfortunately, it's still going for a lot of people. Now, what I don't want to do is, please, you know, people are asking for the file for it. I can't really release the STL file for this, because I don't know how I'd be fixed for copyright. This, you know, is done as a friend. It's not exactly a perfect copy. I have altered it in some ways a little bit, but it's it's Scalextric, and I don't intend to release, because I did that with an STL file a couple of years ago. Somebody wanted an STL file, and he said, would you be prepared to share it? I said, yeah, of course I will. So I shared it. The next thing you know, this STL file is all over the place. And I emailed the guy, messaged him, I said, it can only come from one person, because I designed that. And he said, oh, I'm very sorry, my friend wanted it, and what he's done with it. Well, I just said, well, don't bother asking me for STL files again. You know, and I'm one of these, I'll help anybody out, because people's helped me out. But anyway, enough blabbing on about that. I'll alter the camera now so you can actually see the components. Right, here we are. These are the 4 components. As I explained to you on Fusion 360 when I was doing that, this is the main base, and you see it's still got and it's quite an extensive raft that the M200 builds, but structurally it's good. But the only downfall with it is sometimes it's very, very hard to get off the printer base, the bed. So nature, because you can see all the little holes, that's where the plastic goes, and it's like full of little holes is the bed on the M200, if you've never seen one. That's the other part. That's the as I showed you in 360, that's the base that slides in. That's the TV monitor stand. As you see, that's on a raft, and then that is the little 4 stools. Buffets, I won't say stools because they can represent a lot of things. Buffets that the pit crew sit on, or the technicians. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll take the main body, which is that, off the raft, and basically it comes off pretty easy with the M200. There's no, just, you know, if you're working with flimsy item, just be careful when you're pulling it away. You can hear it click. There you go. Now, and I'll say that very few baseline marks. It's as I say, it's an excellent printer. I know on the internet there's a lot of oh, I don't like mine, it's doing this and doing that. I've never had one problem from that. I've replaced the bed because after a while, because they're adhered so much that when you try and take that off the printer bed and you put your scraper underneath, you can see some of the rafts broke away here because it was still stuck to the bed. You're lifting the bed up, which is replaceable each time, and what happens is you get a bow on the bed. So when you're doing your leveling, it's out, and I noticed that, and I think I've had, this is my first bed. Actually, it was my fault. When I was scraping, there's like 4 metal squares, one in the centre and 4, one on each corner, so there's 5. And on the centre one, where the nozzle touches each time before it goes across to the front corner, which is this one, I'd actually, and I don't know why, I'd actually caught the metal surface and lifted it. Well, of course, it must make a contact with the metal surface somehow. I don't know. I don't know exactly how it works. But to be honest with you, I'm not particularly interested about that. It just works. But the nozzle, there was a hole, and it was right where the nozzle touches off, and you couldn't alter that. And I thought, what if I turn it round? Well, you can't. So I tried that. You can't do that. So I had to replace the bed. But barring that, which I damaged myself with the scraper, I think I think this is my second one, and I believe they're quite difficult to get hold of now. So, but as I say, the last one was on 2.5 years, so it's, you know, it's not a great worry, but it's a fantastic printer, and that's the surface Well, if you look at that, I hope you can see that, how smooth that is. And that's, so if that's smooth, then the face of your, which is that, is going to be smooth. Okay, so that's that one. So that's that. The next thing we'll take off is this one. So I get satisfaction when I'm pulling these off. I like to hear the little clicks. Yeah, there you go. Smooth. Smooth. And if you look down that, and that's ABS, there's no warping. There's no warping on that. It's good at what it does, is M200. I've just got a, you can see in the back there, that was printed like that, so you've no need for any supports, and there's just a couple of little pins to pull out there, which leaves the holes on the top. Okay, you can all see that. Right, now that with the holes, as you can see, slides in there. You don't want it too tight because you need it. I mean, you can pick it up with that, but it clips in, and that's due to the actual runner sides that you put in when you design it. So what you need to be able to pull that out, because you might be putting different things on the floor in there. I don't know what the Scalextric enthusiast do. So that's that one. And then the next one is the monitor stand. Now, as with this one, because if you look the nature of that, and look at the back, no supports, and look at the angle of that, and it's ultra smooth on the back. You can see that. I just hope you can see it in this. There's no, we can't even see blare lines. It's very good, but because it's flimsy, then how it's printed is just be exceptionally careful when taking it off the bed. What I do is I just get a craft knife and just gently slide it underneath, just between the raft and the item. It's thin, especially when it's thin like this. I mean, if you were on a smooth bed, you know, and then you wouldn't have this problem. It just wouldn't occur. It'd probably come off a little bit of a scraper, and off it'd come. Now, and it's not particularly fast printer, is the M200, but it's good at what it does. So I mean, if you like the Bamboo Labs, I mean, like all this, as I was explaining earlier, that takes, the base takes 6 hours something because of the fineness of the print, the quality, and then the other one, the base itself, the slotting base, that takes back just over 2 hours. Then this is 40 odd minutes, then you've the buffet, so you've quite a lengthy time. So if you're printing all that and then you get to within half an hour of it finishing, which if you had it all together, you're going to be talking round about, I don't know, 6.5, 7, 8, but up to 9 hours. Then what you can end up with is a failed print, and you've lost 8.5 hours work. Whereas when you print it separate, if it's not right, you've only lost the first part. So, and a lot of times, and especially ABS, and I've said in my other videos, see, that's come off. Okay, and you look at that on the back, ultra smooth. In fact, you can hear a lot. There's no notchiness where if it were airlines, so it's good at what it does. And the next part is that, and that clips in there. Okay, so you can see that slides in the two slides that side, and just be aware when you do anything like that, because the nature of that is printed, I think it's about 1.5 mil thickness, that it's under 2 mil certainly, so it's that thin that in order to print so it slides in there, you're better printing it slightly larger, and then with a craft knife just tapering those 2 edges off that slide. I don't know if you can see it, slides in that between that and that pillar there, so it slides in the groove. And then what they would do is on the back of that they put a sticker and it shows monitors, pictures of monitors. So that's the pit stand. So then what you've got is your buffets, and these are these are very small, so just be aware when you actually do them. If you can, just ease them a little bit with a craft knife. You won't have much problem with the buffets tops, but as I say, it just helps, and they do come off. As you see, look, they've all come off. And then there you go, that's one. And then they should just pull off. There you go, 4. Okay, so, and it gives you like a little bit of a texture on that one, just the right little bit. It's nature of how it's printed, so it gives you a bit, when you paint it, it looks like material. So now what I'll do is I'll take the bottom out. This is what I was saying to you, it needs to come out, and just check that they fit in, and they do. Okay, even though if you look at that, what I've done is, because to actually print that, if you printed it stood up like that, you very rarely get them correctly. You'd have the be, you know, because a lot of printers, they wouldn't be able to print that fine quite easily, it'd be all over the place. So I print mine laid down, and I print it as a square with 4 corners just slightly taken off, and it's absolutely brilliant. So you get a buffet top, pop that in, then you get the, that way up, there you go. Okay, that's represent the little notch there represents the footrest that they sit on. So I'll do other 4 now. As I said, I mean, when you consider that Scalextric's been around a lot of years, and if you're an enthusiast into it, and you've got a nice circuit and this and other, what advantage you would have if you had a 3D printer and were able to do your own parts? Because the cost wise, I mean, you think about all the items that are plastic on Scalextrics that you maybe only have 1 or 2 of, but you want more. There we go. Slot that back in. There we go. So that is the finished item. Your 4 rafts, and you can see that it looks quite. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just turn see if my video light makes a bit of difference. Turn that off. Yeah. So as you can see, and you can well picture that, you know, the monitors with a sticky label on the back, and you can put labels on but you can paint it to what colour you want, and that's the buffets, and you'd sit the pit crew on that. Quite effective, Yeah, so nice little project. I just thought I'd pass that on. It's it's one of the projects that I was given, or asked to do, not given. I was asked to do, and I said I'd try my best to do it, and sure enough, out it came. Now he's got it. I'll give him this one. I don't require it, but he can have another one and paint it to what he wants, lad. But I just thought I'd demonstrate that of the use of a 3D printer, a little bit of design software, and making your own items for the Scalextrics. And there's no reason why you couldn't do this for Scalextrics, model railways, any modelling that you're doing. I mean, I talk regularly to a chap on social media, and he does model railways, and he prints the sides of all the he'll design a building, and it's normally they normally do it a building designed to a particular building of what the train layout is sort of showing, and it might be some area somewhere in the country or where have you, and they reproduce that building, and they produce the sides, bond them all together, roof, tiles. You can print the surface of the tiles. It's endless what you can do. Trackside items and what have you, and stuff like that for the model railway is not cheap whatsoever. But it just goes to show, with a little bit of ingenuity and a 3D printer, what you can do. Well, that's me concluded for the little project, Scalextric project, the video. As I say, if anybody does ask me for the STL file, I'm very reluctant to share it, because it's copyrighted in such a way, Scalextric, but this is because I've done it for myself, this one, and that it's I'm okay. And it's not an exact copy, the buffets aren't the same, but I don't want to be pushing something out there that belongs to somebody else. So that's conclusion to my video this time. You have to bear with me on producing videos at the moment, because amongst with other jobs in the house, I have some damp to sort out. I've got a bathroom cloakroom type thing to do upstairs, on a little bit of it's not an ensuite, but it's a bathroom toilet upstairs, so I'm doing that. So I've got to fit the videos in as and when I can. So that's it. So as I always say, look, please like and subscribe, because it means it's a big difference to me, that when I know people are liking the video and they're subscribing. I don't get anything from anything. What I show you and what machinery I've got, I purchase myself. I don't get it from anybody. I don't get people asking me to do a review on an item and it's been sent free. I don't. Everything that you see downstairs in the workshop with my printers and the machinery have all been purchased from my back pocket. Okay, so as I say, until next time, you be careful, be safe, and bye for now.